like my first experience with VR was the Oculus Devkit 2. One of the guys that worked at my high school had a Devkit 2, brought it in to show the tech kids, and put on the, of course, put on the roller coaster demo. We played a couple other little things, but yeah, I haven't had like a proper home VR experience. For the most part, it's been at cons, which are obviously not the best environment, especially for games where they require you hearing things, and you've got a lot of things going on at a con, and you got a limited time you can do it. So it's not the perfect environment to test something.
For sure. So I would recommend maybe we get you and a couple of friends together and we go to Zero Latency or something like that and give that a quick go. There's a couple of arcades in Adelaide that have got like large spaces. You can try out some of this stuff all in one go. I did a lot of work for VR Zone as well, which is like just outside of the city. And they've got racing simulators with the full motion and everything as well. Like pretty expensive setups with like the Pimax Crystal, which is like an 8K VR headset. It's insane. You need like proper graphics card to run that. So you've got everything from that all the way down to just standalone that kind of environment, multiplayer gaming. They've got treadmills and everything as well. So that would be sort of a good way to get started. But again, like it's that thing of like, yeah, you can get one in the home, try out a few different games. There's some super casual games that are really just fun. Like same deal, just that kind of zone out, have a bit of a go. There's a really cool game called Puzzling Places. And it's like they've taken these volumetric scans of like, might be a castle in Scotland or a villa in France, and they turn it into a jigsaw puzzle in 3D. So you're using your hands to pick up pieces, put them together and kind of spin around this like 3D model in VR.
That's cool.
And it's just super chill, and you're just kind of in this little world doing this little jigsaw puzzle. There's a really cool Tetris style game. It's like that's in 3D. You got to put these Tetris pieces into this model called Cubism. That game's really awesome. But yeah, there's lots of these just really cool experiences. And then there are fully fledged proper campaign games, right? Like Asgard's Wrath 2 came out with when the Quest 3 came out, and is a giant game. I'm like probably not even halfway through it. Very kind of similar. I'd put it somewhere between Skyrim and like sort of like your God of War style game, because you can throw your axe and pull it back and all that kind of stuff. So it's like combat heavy, but it's like open world. There's mounts. That game's really cool. Like I said, Batman is now sort of like the launch title with the headsets now. Incredible game. And like Batman is pretty good as well. Like they've done a really good mix of kind of like, it's sort of teleport, sort of slide thumbstick movement. So sort of when you're starting getting into VR, I'd recommend more like your Beat Sabers, your Super Hots, things like that, because all your real world movement is one-to-one within the game, right? You're not using the thumbstick to move around. That's when people tend to get a little bit of motion sickness.
Right.
So usually you start with like a teleport type of mechanic, which kind of blink and you're there. And that sort of alleviates that motion sickness because you're just standing there grounded. And then you start getting into your sliding mechanics and you're flying and all that kind of crazy stuff. So Batman does a really good job of that, because when you want to attack an enemy, you just punch forward and you sort of like warp there, almost like in Doom as well. And so that does a really good job of bringing you into it. And the story is actually genuinely really good. They do a really cool like alternate take on like kind of early Batman, which is a really cool game. But yeah, there's so much out there now. And like one of the big ones is like there's this game and it's straight up just mini golf. It's Walkabout Mini Golf is just great. But even years ago, it was funny that my friend like also works in VR and is doing this amazing rehab platform for people with brain injury in VR, and it's just launching very soon. And is getting some amazing results out of people that have had a brain injury or stroke and things like that. He does all of his corporate meetings in mini golf in VR. Literally, like if you're talking to like investors and other like heads of companies and things like that, like while playing mini golf in VR, because it's just more engaging than a Zoom call.
Right.
Because all of your hand gestures and your movement and everything like that is all in there. So genuinely quite a lot of people use VR as a platform just to socialize. Because it's more engaging than a Zoom call or a video call. You're there, and it has this sense of presence. I've got all these anecdotes and stories of sort of like that thing of like, oh, sorry, like I sort of feel like I've encroached on some conversation or some other like thing. You almost get that kind of personal space feeling as well in VR, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, there's these crazy social spaces out there as well. One that I did recently, I was on the Rough Talk VR podcast VR showcase earlier in the year, which is a really cute VR community. They're not hardcore, but they're very like they're very tight knit VR community, and they love everything VR. The podcast is awesome, and they're super positive all the time and just talking about all these games, and they just love it. And it's a father and son podcast. And they just use VR as a way to hang out all the time because they both have jobs. They're busy a lot. They live in the same town, but quite a lot of the time it's like, oh, I'm not going to come over and, play board games or whatever. So they just do that in VR, and they hang out all the time, which I just think is a really cool dynamic. So I hung out in their community a little bit, and they put me on to Resonite. Resonite is a social space VR platform. Quite a lot of people have heard of VR Chat, and it's sort of just a place where you go and you get to put on any avatar that you like. You can be a superhero, you can be a character from almost any IP, you can be an anime character, you can pay for someone to make you an avatar in your exact spec or whatever, and create your own MC or whatever. Resonite is that on steroids. It's free. It's made by this very small team, like even like just basically a solo thing. But what's crazy about it is you're basically in Unity. Like you're in VR, you're in this space, but everything, you have access to everything. Like you can actually create the game while you're in the game, and you can create worlds and spaces for yourself, and like basically like you could create a nightclub and then invite people to your nightclub, and you've made everything, and you've made secret entrances and all this kind of stuff. But you can literally pick up objects, open up the toolbox, and you can see all of its attributes and parameters and everything, and modify it and change it and like hack things in the game. It's absolutely insane. It's crazy hardcore. It's PC VR only at the moment, but it's like it's that next level of sort of like we would kind of, coming in for a landing, kind of talking about what we did at the very start of the conversation, but it's programming, but you're kind of in a physical space, and you're using your hands, and you're building, and you're placing things in a way more engaging way than you would be on a desktop with a mouse and keyboard. And like for me especially, right, like I'm working in Unity, I'm sat at my desk here, I've got my camera there, I do a lot of my development on Twitch, showing people and talking about my game as I'm making it. But I'm constantly having to put my headset on and off and practice and try and do things. And it's really kind of annoying and frustrating having like a flat interface to work on my game, and then having to go into 3D to experience it. Where Resonite is like, it's all native. You're in the experience while you're building it. It's that's where all of this is heading. It's really crazy and exciting stuff. Like 3D modeling in 3D with your hands, like sort of feeling like half sculpting, half designing. You can walk around your models. The scale and everything is all 1-to-1. That kind of stuff is just feeling amazing. And like, I see that where we're finally getting a computing platform now through VR that is now going to get us away from our desks again, which I think is really cool, right? So instead of us all sitting here with a Zoom call and 10 people, and you're sitting there doing your meeting, typing up your notes, you could be standing up, walking around, you could be, engaging, you could be drawing on a whiteboard in the same room as that team and interacting like you would be if you were in the office together. But then you can make games in that same kind of space, right? So instead of you sitting here tweaking your mouse, hurting your wrists and all that kind of stuff, you can actually be up, moving, painting the level design of your world, right? And experiencing that world in 3D as you're building it. So it's just going to be a way better way to work, a way better way to build, make, and experience games. It's coming. Like there's a lot of kind of drama politics to do with the VR industry at the moment. There's a lot of money's been injected, and a lot of promises have been made,
Right.
and like there's sort of a bit of people are like kind of like, come on, like it's been 10 years now. Where's my this? Where's my that? It's coming. We're getting there. It is a little bit slower than we thought. Some of the headsets have, realistically, headsets should be more expensive than they are. But Meta were really pushing to get the industry going, and put billions and billions of dollars into this, and lost more money than any company has ever had before, which is just insane. But what that means is like still currently we're benefiting from that, getting these headsets at a really cheap price. The tech is just getting insane. We can already peek around the corner now, and we're going to be having VR headsets that are the shape of glasses sooner than we think, but not just around the corner. They have built this technology already, and it does exist and it does work. Unfortunately, just to build that kind of ideal headset that we're all thinking of, just to build one of one, to build one unit, it was like $10,000 worth of materials.
A lot cheaper than I would have thought. Moment.
Yeah, but that was $10,000 per unit.
Right, but even so, like that's further along than I think most people probably expect. I think a lot of people would probably guess like 100,000 or even more than that.
Exactly, but that's the thing. It was $10,000 per unit because it's like this crazy laser etched silica carbide material, right? It's nuts. So it's basically this, but it looks like a thick pair of glasses, which is insane. That's not coming to market. No. What we're assuming Meta is going to announce this year is the new version of those Ray-Ban glasses that have got cameras in them, that have got microphones in them, and this time it will probably have a small screen in it. And you'll be getting your text notifications and your turn-by-turn navigation and things like that. Your AI, back and forth. You can talk to your AI with your voice, and you'll see text or you'll hear audio from that assistant. You can ask it questions, things like that. And potentially, we don't know yet, but potentially, real-world subtitles. Like live translation of people speaking other languages around you, which is kind of nuts.
Something that has been like, there's apps for this, and it's been promised for a while, and if that actually happens, that'll be genuinely impressive.